All right, guys, welcome to our public office hours. Any of your questions are welcome. This is an Ask Me Anything session, and my name is Natasha Todorovic Cowan. Let's actually do that. Um, uh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. Um, so, um, about spiral dynamics. I have been training spiral dynamics programs around the world for over 20 years. I've delivered over 200 spiral dynamics certifications, seen thousands of people go through the spiral dynamics journey, and so today we're going to clear up some of the myths and misconceptions and all of those pieces. So welcome, great to have you. And let's get the screen share up and let's get started. All right. So this is an Ask Me Anything session. And my goals for you, number one, to clear up that mystery of what is spiral dynamics. So whether you're brand new to spiral dynamics, brand new to me, maybe you've had a little bit of an introduction, you've heard about it somewhere else, or maybe we've worked together in depth. You're in the right place if you'd like to ask questions. So part of my goal here for you is to open up the dialogue for people who are interested and ethical and talented and who want to know what is possible with this approach and what to do, where to go, and all of that. And what I'm going to do today is reveal the body of work under the spiral dynamics flag, which includes programs and certifications and tools and services and all of that. So we will tackle that, and then we'll just open it up to general questions. So my philosophy is really fairly simple. It's master the basics, and there are certain basics and they take some time to master, and there are far too many people talking about stuff out there in the world that they say is spiral dynamics that not so much. So there's a piece of working the craft. There is a science to this. There's also an artistry to this. So knowing what working the craft looks like is kind of an important thing. So we support people to do that, we encourage them to do that, and we help them with our tools and methodologies, models and frameworks and all of that. Then there's also the piece of respect the body of work. And I think it's a very simple thing, but what we've noticed historically is people who don't respect this work, that lack of respect it ripples it throughout their lives. It reflects in how they treat others. If they don't respect this work, it's kind of like how you treat this, you treat everything. If they don't respect the work, they don't respect their clients. They don't put in the kind of effort into learning this work, then that's happening in other places in their lives. So you won't be a respecter of clients if you're not a respecter of a body of work in its history. You won't be a respecter of yourself and of others. And this is not magic. A lot of people talk about this as if it's some kind of magical silver bullet that solves every single problem. It's a sound understanding of the principles and the methodology and the approach behind this work that's key. So, and I'm saying that because the next piece, which is to work within your zone of competency, there's a plethora of fake experts out there, and they're claiming expertise because maybe they read a book. Well, if you met somebody who said, well, you know what, I know you've got a brain tumor, I just read a book on extracting brain tumors, I'll help you, right? You'd be like, wait, no way. You're not taking out my brain tumor. I'm going somewhere else. And that's the same approach you need to take with this. There is an accelerating effect of this approach, but only if you're already in a zone where you are competent. And there are these fundamental truths, and these fundamental truths are rooted in research. Our body of work has 70 years of research and application, and that's the historical basis from which I come. So a lot of people out there are making up stuff, and it's really difficult to figure out what is and isn't applicable, what does and doesn't work. If you don't understand the fundamental truths, it'll be impossible, next to impossible, to discern who does and doesn't know what they're doing. All right, and then the piece you've been waiting for, what is spiral dynamics? And it's not what you think. So it is not, and this is a list of things that will absolutely and very quickly identify the person who does and doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to this approach. First, it is not a model. Now, a lot of people are talking about spiral dynamics as a model that. The minute you hear that, let that be a clue that they don't know what they're talking about. It is not a theory. Again, some people say spiral dynamics, it's a theory about blah, blah, blah. It's not a theory. And it's not a framework or model of consciousness. It's also not a framework. It is also not just a logo. And it is not about values, and some people use the term values levels. These are the common misunderstandings that quickly should, in your mind, identify the amateur from the expert. So what is it? Guesses? Any guesses? What do you think it is? If it's not any of those things, what is this thing called spiral dynamics? Well, it is a book title. And this book, written by my husband, Christopher C. Cowan, and he is the writer of the book. He wrote 80–90% of the words that went in there, and he labored for a decade to write this book and get it out in the marketplace. So yes, it is a book title. So it's absolutely accurate to refer to Spiral Dynamics, the book. This is the book that Chris and I wrote with our sponsor in Italy, Claudio. And again, book title, but it is not just a book. Spiral Dynamics is a trademark. So what does that mean? What is a trademark? And what does a trademark cover? And what are the implications? What does it mean in terms of who can and can't use it? And how can they use it? Well, let's go through a few examples. So very quickly, you're probably familiar with some of these trademarks. You've heard of McDonald's, you've seen Google, you've seen the Nike Swish, you know about Coca-Cola. You wouldn't brew a cup of coffee, hang a Starbucks logo over your house and say, I'm serving Starbucks. This is a Starbucks office or a Starbucks store or Starbucks products. Even if you happen to be brewing Starbucks coffee, you wouldn't do that. But interestingly, somehow people think that they can do that when it comes to spiral dynamics. And that's been a bit of a problem with people attaching to this work. They don't understand it. And sometimes I say this, if you don't understand something as simple as a trademark, then how is it possible you can understand this complex body of research and work and tools and materials. And I find that the people who get most angry about this are the people who are having the greatest problems understanding this. So part of a trademark is what's called trade dress. So that means how the product or the services appear. And so I've got a few examples for you. Trade dress comes in colors. It comes in shapes. It comes in the certain way you use these colors or design or logo. And so in the middle, we've got the Louboutin shoe, and the Louboutin shoe is the only shoe, only if it's a Louboutin, can they put the red sole on the bottom of the shoe. That is their trademark, their signature marking their shoe. And I don't know about you, but if Chris said to me, okay, Natasha, let's go to the hardware store and let's pick up some red paint and we'll paint the bottoms of your shoes, I'd really be offended with that. That's what's happening in the marketplace. So the Tiffany box in the upper right-hand corner, right? You wouldn't take a Tiffany box and then get a kid's toy and put it in there. There's a meaning to it. There's a significance. There's a approach. There's an experience. There's a particular promise of a quality of product and what that represents. The shoe at the bottom. And so you've got the interconnected G, which is the sign of the Gucci, the symbol, the logo of the Gucci products, in this case a shoe. And you've got that green and red striping and piping. That's part of their color. That's part of the shape. That's part of their logo. That's part of the Gucci brand. And the same thing with the Shell gas station in the bottom right-hand corner. We've got the yellow, we've got the red. We know what brand of gasoline we're buying and where we're going, because the name and the logo and the colors all signify the source of where this particular thing comes from. The spiral itself is a set of colors. That's our trade dress. We own those colors. The shape of the spiral, and we've got multiple spirals, but that shape, that conical sort of spiraling shape in those colors, in that order, are our property. It's our shape, it's our design, these are our colors, and it's our logo. And so another example of trade dress is, again, design and shape. If we take the Jean Paul Gaultier perfume and that just iconic shape of the woman with perfume in that bottle, or the man's cologne in that man shape bottle, only Jean Paul Gaultier can put their perfume in that kind of a shape, in that kind of a bottle, because it's their signature trade dress, trade design signature bottle. And the same for the can that holds that bottle. So the Coca-Cola bottle, same thing. Their trademark, their design is unique to them. If anybody else imitates it, then they can get in trouble. So you wouldn't take a Coca-Cola bottle and put Coke on it, or take that particular bottle and pour your own brown liquid in it, right? That is fraudulent. That is misrepresenting the liquid in the bottle. Similar thing for spiral dynamics. Again, that spiral shape with those colors, we've got it in a few different shapes. That design, those colors in that order, in that shape, are property. And like property, it has an owner, it has an origin, it has a history, it has a promise. And that promise is the quality of material, the quality of delivery, the source of goods and services. So Spiral Dynamics is a trademark, and it's a trademark that defines what are the goods, what are the services. And so our assessments, for example, are goods. And we've got not only assessments, we do a training for certain groups of people to certify them to use these assessments in their business. But we've also got other goods like manuals, like posters, like workbooks, like postcards, like materials, like templates, like handouts, like these particular tools. And these are scientifically validated. It's not like a quiz, which is super popular these days, where somebody makes up a few statements and then calls it spiral dynamics, or puts a few colors on it, or says it's an assessment. These are scientifically validated assessments that really require thoughtful, knowledgeable understanding, application, and use. And we train and certify people, ethical people, people who are willing to invest the time and the energy and the effort to learn how to use them properly. And as also part of the goods, we've got learning aids as well, templates, all kinds of things that fall under that goods category that that carry the Spiral Dynamics brand. And the brand tells you where it comes from. And like many brands, you will find copycats. And I used this example the other day with someone and said, look, you know, if you had this little pill and this pill had Viagra on it, would you be horrified to know that somebody, maybe in China, imitated the logo, tried to put together kind of a sloppy version of the pill and filled it with fillers? Is that something you'd put in your body? And he said, oh my gosh, absolutely not. Well, then why then would you accept somebody pretending that their product is something that it's not? And I think that landed for him. Or if you took a Mercedes logo and put it on the back of a horse, right? Does that make the horse a Mercedes? Well, no. Similar thing. But I think a lot of people don't think about that. So for us, Spiral Dynamics is also a promise of what are you going to have as an experience? The knowledge base that somebody using our assessments is expected to have. And so other goods and services, we've got materials like manuals, like templates, like courses, programs. We've got dozens of different programs and ways of communicating some of our work and through these materials. So services, as an example, training, workshops, events, the consulting that we do as an organization, the various Spiral Dynamics programs, all of these are trademarked services. And to help us with the services, We have templates, we have tools, we have handouts, we have manuals, we have different things that we provide to our participants. But just because they have that thing does not mean they get to carry the Spiral Dynamics flag, if that makes sense. And finally, some of the areas of our core expertise when we are delivering consulting or when we're delivering training is how do you map the change in an organization? That's more consulting. But we use the Spiral Dynamics assessments to be able to get our finger on the pulse of change. We're also able to map the organizational, cultural DNA of that particular organization. Again, we use our assessments to help with that, but we also use our proprietary methodology in which to execute on that. And we also use our templates and tools in order to report back on some of those findings to the leadership teams that we work with. We also do team building. We also help organizations become more change ready, to become more resilient, to help them to navigate change, to develop their organization, their teams, their leadership into the next best iteration of who it is they are naturally becoming. We work with leaders to help them to congruently lead their teams and improve their leadership capacities. And we also help with the execution of strategy. You can have the best designed strategy on the planet, but without knowing who the leaders are, without knowing who the managers are, without knowing who the team is that's going to execute and how they're going to execute this, it's really difficult to give that strategy legs to make sure that it gets the results that was originally intended. And so another example of some of our services and products is the Spiral Dynamics live workshop. We do this live, we've done it online. And this particular one includes the step-by-step strategies to successfully build resilience that your clients need right now so that they can rock leadership and change. So this one is specific for business and executive coaches. We deliver programs that are specific for leaders, that are specific for teams. We've done them specific for educators and teachers. And so it comes from a trademarked body of materials and services, and it tells you where it's coming from and who has the authority to deliver this work. And that's what a trademark means. Another example of a program is the Spiral Dynamics Principles course. Out of our programs, we've got 3 that are public. This is one of them. All the rest of our programs are invitation only. So we have an application process and an intake process. It's pretty rigorous. And those who we certify have varying levels of expertise and ability to deliver certain things. And that's the evidence of expertise. That's the evidence of competence. That's the evidence to the marketplace about who is and who is not authorized to deliver this work. And our expertise is global. We've worked on 5 different continents and over 15 different countries delivering these programs. And if you've heard of it, you might have heard of it from the book. You might have heard of it from someone that you've worked with who is authorized to deliver our material. And you might have heard from it from someone who isn't. It doesn't matter. We are delighted that you're here. We're delighted that you are looking into it. And if you've got any questions, I'm happy to take them. And you can also get on our list if you go to spiraldynamics.org or spiraldynamics.com. Feel free to go to advanced resources to pick up materials that might interest you. And if you're interested in training, please feel free to send us an email at info@spiraldynamics.org. I'd be happy to speak with you or have one of my colleagues speak with you. It's been a delight. It's been a pleasure. And welcome to the world of spiral dynamics. I hope that clarified some pieces for you. And looking forward to working with you if you're the right fit. All right. Hope you had a good one. Take care. And this is Natasha Todorovic-Cowan signing out. And yes, I do own the Spiral Dynamics trademark in multiple countries. It's owned by my organization, the National Value Center, and we've been doing work under this brand for, gosh, since 1994, 95. And it officially got into the public record as it was accepted as a trademark in 1998. So that's the history. Hope that helped. Hope that clarifies a few things. All right, now I am signing out for sure. All right, and take care, guys.